from a product designer's point of view, right? What would you say user testing is? What would you call user testing?
User testing is the process of testing your products with actual users to get feedbacks that can be converted into insights used in improving the product. And this saves a lot of time and prevents a lot of errors in the product development lifecycle. So you get first-hand experience with users before you go live with your product.
And what would you say has been the best part for you as a product designer? Factoring user testing as a product designer, what would you say has been the best part for you?
That would be trying to make sure that I'm getting the right participants for my user testing. Testing like with the real users, like the personas. I don't know if you know what that means. That means like the specific set of people that the product is being designed for. Testing with the users that represent that persona. That would be like the best part or the most important part of it for me.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask a question, but I think it aligns with what you've said, but I'll just ask you regardless. Maybe you have something else to say, right? So let me just ask this one. What is the most important factor to consider when conducting user testing? Like the most important factor, if it was in a form of hierarchy, what would you say is the most important factor to consider when doing user testing or when running or conducting user testing as a product designer? What would you say is the most important factor?
I think I mentioned earlier. So the most important factor will be making sure you are testing with the users that really represent the user that you are designing the product for, like the real user base. If I am designing a platform where people can order food for eating, maybe take home or home food delivery, I'm making sure I'm getting users that actually order food and not users that play games online. So that's like the most important factor. I'm not getting the wrong set of people to test the product. So that's the most important factor for me in product and user testing. Thank you, Michael. So we can move to the next slide. So I think that we're just going to be very, very quick with this one. We'll be talking about user testing and planning a usability test, and we're rounding up with getting some questions and answers section at the end of it. So please, Michael, the next slide. We'll start by talking about user testing and why it is important. So like we mentioned earlier, user testing is the process of evaluating a product, website, or software by testing it with real users, or an emphasis on real users to get feedback on its usability, functionality, and overall experience. So it involves creating scenarios or tasks for users to complete while the product and observing their interactions and feedback. This means that you create a text for actual users of the product and you watch them use it while you observe their interaction and you get feedback from them, maybe by asking questions or other means, but we'll get to know how to get this feedback later as we proceed. So user testing is important as it helps to identify usability issues, improve experience, reduce development cost, and increase customer satisfaction and loyalty. The next slide. So I'll be highlighting some of the benefits of user testing for business. So user testing increase productivity. That means you don't spend much time doing the wrong thing. Decrease training and support cost. Like we all know, it costs a lot to create and help and support for a digital product. So when you do a lot of user testing, you don't have to users, you don't have the problem of user coming to your platform to ask you questions that you could easily solve with your design. It increased sales and revenue. When you design a product that you test with actual users, you are going to get a lot of people using it. Where your product is usable, you can only prove that this product is good to go and people will use it and respond to it well when you test with real users. And that's will not happen after go live. It should happen like before you release the product to the market. Then you have reduced development time and cost. So if you do user testing before you actually start developing your product, let's say from a low fidelity wireframe level to high fidelity mockup level, you reduce the time the engineer spend trying to build what has not been tested. Because if you build before testing your designs, you have your engineers coming back to fix things over and over, which will take time and it will cost you a lot in the long run. And it reduces maintenance costs and it increased customer satisfaction. Michael, the next slide. So planning a usability test. Um, so step for planning a usability test. The first step is to define your objectives and tasks, define the metrics, choose a test methodology, recruit participants, conduct tests, and analyze results. So I'll be breaking down these steps in the next slide, couple of slides. So when you are defining your objective, you have to understand your requirements. Like what does the user wants to accomplish? If you are bringing this product to the market, let's say, for example, we want to like develop or an app for people that order food online. We want to know what they want to accomplish. They want to order food. They want to be able to take that order again. They want to be able to add, customize their order, one or two things. And what does the company want to accomplish? In most cases, company want to acquire more customers. Company want to make money. Then you proceed to decide on area to focus on. So these are like the tasks that have most impact on your product. A typical task like what's a
Hello, Desmond, are you there?
like testing your checkout if you are or you own an app, go through the most critical part of the app. So you have to test the most critical stacks on it.
Hello, Desmond, can you hear me? Hello, Desmond, can you hear me? So if anyone can hear me, let me just like just unmute yourself and let me know you can hear me. If anyone else can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hi, Desmond, we can't hear you if you're talking.
Hello, Michael, can you hear me? The next slide.
Yes, so I can hear you, but we completely lost you on this slide. So you might want to go through this slide again before we move through to the next slide. We completely lost you.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. So you, first of all, you define your objective and your task. That is understanding your requirements. By this, I mean you understand what your users want to accomplish on your products. Maybe on an e-commerce website, you know what your user want to accomplish. They want to order an item or they want to check out. And what does your company want to accomplish? Maybe you want to sell one product, you want to make money. You have to understand the company goal and the user goal before you go out to test. So you know that you are going to test what the user really want to do and what the business really wants to put out there. You decide on the area to focus on. That is, we talk about the most important tasks, and you you also want to test like the typical tasks like the user will perform when they come to your mobile app or website, and you also want to talk about the most critical tasks. Most critical tasks by this might be, for example, an e-commerce website. The most critical tasks might be checking out process. You want to test this kind of flow um, before you take the market, take the product to the market. So these are one of the stuff you have to the objectives that you have to have in mind before you go out to test the product. The next slide. So you also have to know the metrics that will be defining this text that you are going to perform. You want to know the task process. How do you see a task was successful, that the user completely the user has successfully completed the task. You want to know the task time. How long does it take for a user to order food, for example, order meat pie from this mobile app? How long does it take for a user to check out? You want to know errors, like the rate of errors. How many times does the user click on the wrong button while trying to check out? You want to know. You also want to know efficiency, like the rate of efficiency, number of steps required for a task to perform a task, and you want to get self-reported metrics. So by this, I mean that the metrics that you get from the user that are actually testing the product. So for example, this can be you checking their reaction to the product. This is you observing the user, the way he reacts while trying to check out, the way the user reacts while trying to order an item, you looking at them physically, noticing their body language and getting an insight from that. And you also asking them a question. So these are like self-reported metrics from the user asking the question, though, how do you feel about this product? Do you prefer we use this green button, or you prefer we use a red button for this action? Like these are the metrics that you should have in mind before going out to test the product. And next, we're talking about choosing a test methodology. So depending on your goals and the metrics that you want to track for this test, you can choose a methodology. Either you want to do a moderated usability test or an unmoderated usability test. A moderated usability test is a test where you have like you guide the user on a series of tasks, and while you observe them, recording their behaviors and feedback. And unmoderated usability test, you have users complete tasks and their behavior and feedback are recorded throughout using a software like Crowd. And that's like unmoderated. So you just give them the tasks from there. So the next step is to recruit your participants. Once you know the methodology for the test that you want to conduct, then you proceed to recruit your participants. Like we mentioned earlier, your participants should have the same characteristic as a target audience, such as age, gender, location, experience with similar products, and all these characteristics are like are what you should put in place to ensure that the feedback received during user testing is relevant and actionable for improving your product. So we move to the next slide. So conducting the test. So should be conducted in a comfortable and safe environment for the users, for the participants, so that they can share their thought and opinion without feeling judged or pressure. So trying to, like, this is one of the most important tests in usability test, one of the most important phases, where to conduct your test and trying to make the user feel comfortable. So you have to like put this in place to avoid biases in the kind of feedback and answers that you get from the users. The last step of this, which is analyzing the usability test results. This can be the most critical part of it. That means the first thing you do is collect and organize your data. So you gather all the data collected during your test process and organize it in a systematic manner. Maybe, for example, you have a spreadsheet where you have a list of tasks and you have the ratings for the tasks as the user perform it. And you have another column where you have the user's behavior. That means you looking at the way the user interact with the product. Maybe you can have a user rate you, say, okay, I enjoy this product and rate it 5. And while using the product, the user has like a very long face, frowning to the step that he or she is taking. So it's very important to know how to gather this data and plot out your insight from this data. Then you should identify a pattern and a trend. No, sorry, before that. Identifying patterns and trends. So you are looking out for patterns. If, for example, you conduct a text for users trying to order food, and you have an app where you have a list of food items, and beside it you have an button to add to cart. And after the usability test, you have like 5 users saying that they like that it's very easy to add an item to cart, but I should be able to increase the number of items that I want before I add it to cart. I don't want to add to cart and add to cart again to add 2 items. And so when you have 5 out of 8 users saying this, that is a pattern. That's how you get a trend and a pattern. So trend and pattern comes with time. If you have 8 out of 10 users saying it's difficult for me to log in, that's a pattern. If you have 6 out of 10 users saying I want to be able to customize my order, and that's the pattern. So that's what it feels like to understand patterns and trends in usability test results. The next slide, you're categorizing the issue. So based on the patterns and trends that you have, you create a team to categorize these issues based on severity and prioritizing for improvement. For example, critical issues that impact the user experience should be addressed first. So you have like a scale of prioritization where you check out the trends that you get and you look at the ones that are more critical. Let's say, for example, in a food app example now that we gave earlier, if users cannot add an item to cart, cannot add more than 1 item to cart at once, and you have another option where users cannot check out, I think checkout will be more important issue than not being able to add 2 items to cart at once. So it's easier for the user to come back and add another item. It might be a longer process, but the journey is not complete if a user cannot check out. So you have to categorize issue and learn to prioritize too. And then you generate insights from the data that you have gotten from this test. The next slide. We almost coming to the end of this presentation. I think the last slide will be, okay, so sharing your results with the rest of the team, means sharing with the product team, the sales team, and everyone I get to identify the issue and recommend improvement. Then the last step of usability test is iteration. So use the insight gained from this process so far to improve the product. and conduct additional tests to ensure that changes have improved the user experience. So that's the end of the presentation. It's a pretty short one, but I'll be expecting questions for clarity from everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Desmond. That was, even if the network decided to, play on us, but we tried. Yeah, we still managed to make it a successful one. So if you have questions, right, please, this is your time to ask. Right? If you have questions, this is your time to ask. And there'll be a form that will be shared in this chat. So if you want the slide, of this presentation, please just fill that form and the slide will be sent across to you. But before that, if you have questions, please ask.
I got a question in the chat box. I think someone said, what tool can I use for my user tests? So depending on your text and an objective, the objective and tasks that you want to use us to carry out, there are a couple of tools out there. We have base usability hub and all, but there is a new tool which is Crowd, like that's all the features that you need, like the one platform in all, that you don't have to like go to do a particular test in this platform and come back to this platform to do another test. So I'll strongly recommend you use Crowd, and for the fact that currently Crowd helps you in achieving the most important part of usability test, which is you getting the right participant for your tests. So that is one thing that make me recommend Crowd above all other usability test platform. Another question is saying, can you share a case study you work on where user tests led to significant improvements in a product you design? Yeah. For the sake of non-disclosure agreement, where we all know what one of these popular banks look like, that have a lot of icons on the screen. Let's say you have like the app has some kind of green color and orange. I won't try to be specific so you don't get the app that I'm talking about. So that was the kind of screen that this fintech product have. And we have like 4 or 5 icons for triggering the same action. Let's say I want to add money, and on the dashboard we have add money with card, add money with USSD, add money with bank transfer, add money with QR, and we have send money, everything listed all together. So when the product was out and we discovered that users don't add money or send money out of their account, only a few does, and you just open the app and for a while and they delete it. So we wanted to know what was wrong with the product. We decided to conduct a usability test with real users of the product. We send out mails to users who are interested in testing the product with us, and we got feedback from them. So it was a moderated usability study where we asked them to fund their fintech wallet via card. And what I discovered from that test was that a lot of users spend more than 3 minutes looking at the screen before they can decide on what to do. So we realized that having those icons scattered all over the screen was a lot of distraction and caused delay in decision making for the users. So we decided to group them. For example, I mentioned that we have add money with card, add money with QR, add money with bank transfer, and everything on the screen. And we have the same thing, features for send money and other things on the screen. So we have to group them and cover them up with just 2 buttons. We have a button for add money, a button for send money, and we have the account balance. We were able to get that through that usability test, and at the end of the test, making that improvement to the design, like got us more users coming back to use the app, and also referring it to other people to come on. Like this cost about 200% increase in the users that we have on the platform. So that's like one of the best case studies I have with conducting usability tests. Someone also asked if the user testing was expensive. Yes, it was, because we have to recruit users ourselves. We have to like go through a lot of process to get users. At some point, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to get them, to convince them that it's us. It's not a scam. It's not a waste of time. And also trying to get them not to be too serious. We have to like transport users from different parts of the state, because it was a moderated disability study, and it was quite expensive. I wouldn't do that now. This is 2023. I mean, I could easily use a software like Crowd, and have Crowd get me some of my users, and I sit at the comfort of my home and I conduct the test. I think that would be less expensive and faster, because that took a lot of time trying to get this user. I think someone also asked a question: what are the different type of usability testing methods, and when should each method be used? So we have like a lot of usability testing methods, like ranging from your 5-second test to your preference test, your prototype test, evaluation test, and all of that. There is no right time for a method to be used, and I don't know if you are talking about moderated and non-moderated method. I think it's just based on the data that you want to get, just as I mentioned in the slide. But if you are talking about the type of test that you conduct is depending on the product that you have. If you have an e-commerce product, for example, and you are in the early stage of your product, you might want to conduct a preference test. You want to know where to put this product, and you want to know where users can. You want to conduct a preference test, a 5 seconds test, how easy it is for users to find an item on your e-commerce website, and you want to see the layout, which of the layouts your user prefer. That might be a preference test, and this can be done at the beginning of your design, from like low fidelity prototype. And if you are moving forward to like high fidelity prototype, you can still conduct a preference test, and you can do like a prototype test with your Figma prototype name, and assigning tasks to user to conduct. And me personally, I will say that it's good to perform usability tests at all stages of your design. And even when you are done designing and the product is being implemented, it's good to perform usability tests, because if you don't perform this test at every stage of a product development cycle, and you take this product to the market, users don't. First impression lasts longer. Let me just put it that way. So if you go to market with a product that is not usable, that the experience that has an horrible experience, it will be hard for you to get the users back when you fix that experience. People already deleted your app, you unsubscribed to your mail, and you have no means of reaching them. Also, referrals and word of mouth. You have people commenting stuff on your app store. It's so hard for me to find how to remove my card from this app. I don't know how to transfer my money out. So you don't want all of that. It's good to conduct usability tests at all stages, from your low fidelity prototype to your high fidelity prototype. And when you have a dev build or a prototype or the website link, you can still conduct usability tests. So you can be at like 3 stages before you take the product to the market. I think that's all the questions now. I don't know if there's anyone else. Do we have any other questions that we would like to ask about usability test? And also, let me know if you are interested in this slide. I might have to add a usability test case study to it. And I'll be sending to everyone who is interested. I'll be sending to your mail.
Thank you so much for sharing that insightful tips and strategies to, implementing user testing in the design and development process. I really learned a lot. And I'm not a designer, but I'm as here, they actually took something home with them and they'll be implementing it. So for those that are interested in the slides, we already put a link up in the chat, so you can just check it out, submit your email address, and we'll be sending the slides to you. And just in case you are looking for a user testing platform or a product research platform, you can check out Crowd. The link is also in the chat. It's free and we're in a beta phase, so it's a great time to check out the platform right now. Thank you to everybody that joined. I hope we're able to get one or two things. And thank you so much, Desmond, for taking out time. I know you're a very busy person. Thank you for taking out time to come and enlighten our users. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a great weekend ahead, everyone. Good night.